Hi. Hello, hello. Okay, so I'm in my kitchen. Breakfast. Breakfast. I don't eat breakfast every single day. I eat breakfast when I'm led to eat breakfast. And that said, I'm led to eat breakfast today. So break fast. How do you break your fast? In the morning or late morning? Do you break it with a healthy organic meal? Something wholesome and vitalizing? Or do you eat junk food, donuts, and coffee? Do you run through the local coffee house and purchase your frothy, foamy, pumpkin, smate, latte, latte, whatever they are? Anyway, consider fueling the sacred body temple with some beautiful, vibrant food. So here, I'm going to take the camera off of me and I'm going to move it over here, and so you could actually in part see what I'm doing. And this isn't easy. This isn't easy because I don't have a freaking camera crew, but that's okay. Doesn't matter, one day I will. But let me show you this. Here are my little diced sweet potatoes. Can you see those? Yeah, I just kind of diced them, rough chopped them. I like sweet potatoes. I like to eat them raw too. And then I already have my egg, just pasture-raised eggs that I beat. And there's a little bit of ghee for, the fat, the oil. And I have some cracked, some pepper here and some salt. I'm going to make an scrambled egg burrito using some awesome coconut flour tortillas. Store-bought. But I know my pan's really hot, so let me work on that for a second here. So I'm just going to take these bad boys and stick them in there. Smush them around a little bit. Like that. See, smushing them around, getting them distributed, pretty much evenly distributed. You can see that these are just kind of small diced, nothing fancy schmancy, no perfect culinary technique involved. Remember, this is home cooking. If you want to impress your friends, take a class. There you go, camera. Hang tight with me for a second. I'm going to put the lid on purpose, but I'm going to leave it ajar a little bit. Actually, it's not a jar, it's a lid. Anyway, I'm going to leave it cracked open a little bit so it can release a little bit of the steam. Okay? And meanwhile, I've already beat my eggs, pasture raised. I'm going to add a little bit of cracked pepper to the eggs. And then a little bit of Himalayan sea salt. So that way it could get a little more blended. And I'm just going to beat it up a little bit more. See that? Beat the eggs. Beat the eggs. So, and this is 3 eggs. This is 3 pasture-raised brown eggs that I beat up. And this potato, let me show you. Don't go away, brothers and sisters. I will show you what I use. Obviously, this was a whole potato at one time. It's just a regular old sweet potato. And I just, cut off a little bit. Use a cutting board here to dice it up with my my big chef knife. You want to use the right tool for the job. It's easier to use this than this. This is a paring knife used to trim vegetables up and stuff like that. Peel. This is a proper chef's knife, which gives you a lot more leverage to work with when you're chopping your vegetables, So anyway, let's get back to this. Okay, so these are getting, because I put the lid on them, they're actually cooking up quicker, which is lovely. Want them to cook a little quicker, actually, because I have somebody coming over at 9 o'clock. So I just want to show you how fast this is to make. I personally like to eat my potatoes a little crunchier because I like the consistency, number 1. And number 2, because it actually keeps more of the natural enzymes in the food. When you overcook it, it smushes it, overcooks the food, kills all the enzymes. So you want to not overcook anything. It's probably on medium low but I feel based on the consistency of how I like my potatoes, little soft, but not mushy at all, and not too crunchy. So I feel that's about right. And remember, the lid helped. It helped cook it a little quicker. So what am I going to do next? I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the eggs and I'm just going to pour it right in. Oh, and I like to use a lot of good healthy oil. I use a little bit of leftover vegans, plug your ears. I guess you wouldn't be watching this anyway if you see me with eggs in my hands, but I use a little bit of leftover chicken fat that I'd used from pasture-raised chicken. And then I added just a small amount of ghee. So all in all, probably about a half a tablespoon. And if the potatoes stick, add more oil. Remember, this is healthy oil. And then there you go. Just added my my beaten eggs. You can see them. See the edges? How the edges are turning yellow? Well, it's starting to cook on the outside, but the center is still wet, which means it's still raw. So hold tight 1 second, because I like to tidy as I go. That's just me. I don't like to have a lot of mess around when I'm cooking. And because I like spice, I'm going to add a little more cracked pepper. And then a little more sea salt. And see that? Actually, if I played with the edges right now, kind of lifted them up, I can release the part that's cooked, and then I can start making an omelet. But that's not what I'm going to do, because I don't want to make an omelet. This is a basic scramble, and I'll show you why. Because I'm going to take it, I'm going to make a scrambled pasture-raised egg and sweet potato burrito without the gluten. So see, what's happening is the pan's so hot, it's still cooking, so I'm going to turn it off because I don't want my eggs to get all dry. So I'm going to turn it off, and then I'm actually going to, see those? Isn't that lovely? Very easy, right? I mean, all I did, I had my potatoes already diced, so they were all ready to go. So see, it's still cooking a little bit. That's why I took it off the heat, moved it away from the heat, because if I left it on, it would still overcook. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these awesome brand new product that I found. All organic, the real coconut by Daniela Hunter. Thank you, Daniela. Gluten and grain-free. Don't want to eat the gluten because the gluten creates inflammation in the body. Even if you're not, you don't have celiac disease, you have no any problem with gluten, you still want to avoid it as much as you can, because gluten does create inflammation in the body. Inflammation creates inflammation around the organs. It ultimately creates disease. So, yeah, and these are all organic, no grains. It's got some coconut flour, cassava flour, starch, water, some sea salt, some coconut oil, a little bit of xanthan gum. All organic. So I've never actually used these. So what I used to do when I was a kid, growing up in the my grandmother's house, la casa de mi abuelita, house of my grandmother, we used to just take the tortillas, and if we didn't put them on a hot cast iron skillet, or a comal, which is the other term for that in Spanish, we would just take them and put them literally over the open flame. I'm going to do that and see what happens with these. I think it's going to be fine. And if not, it's okay. It's still going to be fine. I'll eat it anyway, because that's just how I am. So, because I like to tidy up after myself, I'm putting these away in the fridge, right? No sense in creating more mess for myself. Okay, so you want to have this on I started on a more medium, but look at the edges are just cooking. I want the middle to get a little hot. So I have it on low. And then what I have here is, beautiful, beautiful homemade salsita. So this salsa is not very hot. It's got a little bite to it. Tomatoes, garlic, cilantro, jalapeno peppers. And the reason why is because it adds a nice flavor. It's part of the culture, you know. Latinos, we eat salsa. I'm Latina. My grandmothers and my grandmothers before that grandmother and other grandmothers are all born in Mexico. So that's part of the culture. So this is kind of warm enough for me anyway. If you don't want to mess with the flame, you could heat a little black cast iron skillet or a big one and heat it up and then put it in there like that until it's hot and warm. But I just say screw it. Do it the way my grandmothers did. Use your freaking fingers and get in the fire. So anyway, there we have it. The tortilla's nice and it's a little crunchy, but not too much. And then I'm just going to take some of my beautiful mixture here, and I'm going to kind of just stick it in the middle. You can see that. And then I'll save the rest of this for after, either for later or when you're not looking. I'll just eat it with a spoon. So then I'm going to add a little bit of my salsita, the salsa right here. I'm just going to put in the middle. And of course, I'm going to lick the spoon because I can. Of course, I'm going to go rinse it off because that's just what I do. And a little bit more salt. All right, there you go. See? So you have your little homemade, less than that. When I was prepared, after I prepped all my food, you know, beat the eggs, diced the potatoes, got my fats out for cooking and my salt and pepper, had everything in place, which is the technical term, the culinary term is called mise en place. That means everything's in its place. Then I just whipped it out. Took me, you saw, less than 5 minutes. So here we have it. So, bear with me. So it's gonna get kind of squishy out there. So I'm just gonna poke it in with my spoon and I'm gonna taste it. Here it goes. It's actually turned into a taco, but you could make it into a burrito, whatever, it's all the same. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. There you have it. Less than 5 minutes, breakfast. You can even have the leftovers for lunch and just heat up another tortilla and there you go. All right, well, that said, gotta go. Gotta get ready for my client. So I gotta finish this and clean up my mess. Stay tuned for more. Bye.